Hello and welcome back to Why Geopolitics Matter, the podcast. This week's episode covers the arrival of the Russian oil tankers to Cuba and what it means, the Houthis joining the war in Iran, and the upcoming election in Hungary. So let's get into it. But first, Meredith, I want to have a quick chat about Macron's and Trump's exchanges in the last couple of days because it's been a ride. Right, we have the comments of Trump calling for Europe to go into the strait and, the main job is done, go and get your oil. And then we have a different type of comment about Brigitte slapping Macron and she treating him terribly, being a... Anyways, what do you make of it? Jesus Christ.
Anything to embarrass somebody else when he's embarrassed. You know what I mean? It's just what he does to other world leaders. Like, it's so cringe and so embarrassing for us because it's just like, why are you doing this? It doesn't make any sense at all. It's so ugly. And you're trying to be friends with these people. You're trying to get something out of them, but you're going to insult them at the same time. It's just... like, it's negging. It's like, it's the weirdest thing. I don't understand it. And yeah, I'm so glad you brought it up because it's just like the weirdest thing happening right now.
It's like it's like a high school type of behavior.
Yes.
Like you're trying to be the bully, right? Like make fun of the person that you don't like, because Trump is very personalistic in his diplomacy. So if you don't like this person, well, I'm gonna make fun of you or tell jokes about this. And Macron's response was, as usual, like very diplomatic and
yes, professional.
very professional, very elegant, saying that those types of comments, specifically about Brigitte, they are not worth talking about.
Exactly.
And he shut down the conversation. But what if he was against another Trump?
I think it works for him to be above it all in the bigger person. And it's really nice to see that the rest of the French government was kind of standing up for him too. They were just like, there's no need for any of this stuff. Like, we shouldn't be talking about this stuff. It's a good thing that he didn't respond in a childish way like Trump did. So, like, diplomacy still matters.
Agreed. But if I were to respond to Trump, I don't know, I would pick on his hair or something like that, or him being orange.
Yes. And all the bruises on his hands that have been coming up that are just like, ugh, yeah.
What? No,
yeah,
I haven't
yeah.
noticed
He
that.
there's like zoomed in photos where he's got bruises all over his hands and he's like makeup on top of it so that photos can't really pick up on how bad the bruising.
In other words, I'm laughing. Let's get into the serious stuff. So, the Russian oil tanker docking in Cuba. Well, it is known for many that Cuba is experiencing a critical situation energy-wise due to the U.S. Oil embargo. And just recently, a Russian oil tanker docked on the shores of Cuba. So I want to go over why this is so significant, but I also want to take our listeners a couple of months back and remember real quickly how it all started. So it's January the 3rd of this year, 2026, and Nicolás Maduro is captured in the Operation Absolute Resolve and brought back to the U.S. to face charges of narcoterrorism, right? So that was the big event starting this year. Then the U.S. takes charge of the oil industry in Venezuela, and oil shipping to Cuba stops completely, which was, of course, a big hit to Cuba because Venezuelan oil covered 50% of the domestic demand. So starting from that moment, the country started experiencing a huge stress in the energy grid. Then, same month, but at the end of the month, January the 30th, Trump enforces an executive order authorizing a complete oil blockade on Cuba. So the U.S. is not letting any tankers get into the island. Some of them get rerouted away. And there are also threats of tariffs on countries that directly or indirectly supply oil to Cuba. Now, all of this in order to put more pressure on the regime and have it collapse, on the Cuban government regime. Then, seeing that there's these threats of tariffs, Mexico, which is one of the other big contributors of oil to the island, stopped sending tankers, obviously, and have only been able to send a couple of ships with other kinds of humanitarian aid like food or hygiene items, but specifically not oil. And Mexico has been trying to have talks with the US and always be there trying to help in the situation. But Trump's position remained unchanged. After some time, like on February, at the end of February, the U.S. allowed the resale of Venezuelan oil, specifically to the private sector of Cuba, but nothing that would benefit the military or the regime directly. However, it's very difficult for Cuban companies to pay for the oil at a market price because the island was actually getting a discount from Venezuela on their oil. So they were not able to pay for what it would be at a normal market price. So it was not bitch. Sorry. It was not a bitch. All right, let me go back. So overall, it was not a huge help in the situation. And again, the US would not let any country help Cuba with that. However, on March the 30th, after 3 months of no tankers getting to the island, finally one docked. But this one is coming from Russia. And this is very interesting because the US and the EU have sanctioned heavily energy of Russian origin. But now Trump says that he has no problem with Russian tankers getting fuel into the island. And don't get me wrong, for the Cuban people, this is great news. Like, they have been experiencing major blackouts. People have had to find other ways to commute, to cook. It's a really serious humanitarian situation. So this shipment that is pretty much 730,000 barrels of crude oil will provide for about 2 weeks of energy to Cuba. So this is great news. There will still be some time because since it's crude oil, they have to refine it and convert it into actual fuel. But it would last for about 2 weeks. So this is good news, but from another perspective, this raises the question of why is the U.S. specifically allowing Russia to do it? Why not Mexico? Why not other countries that have shown interest in helping? And there's actually a second tanker routed to Cuba, again from the Russian government, and the White House declined to confirm if it will be allowed or not. According to the White House, the press secretary specifically, it's a situation where it is evaluated case by case and that there has not been any change in the blockade policy. But I'm pretty sure that the second tanker will also be able to arrive, will also be allowed to arrive. And for me, what I make of it is it shows a clear inconsistency in the government. Because actually, as we mentioned in the last episode, the US also lifted the sanctions on Russian oil due to the situation in Iran and the Strait of Hormuz. And with the second tanker, for me, this seems more like a pattern. I cannot I cannot help but have a sense that the US will establish sanctions and they will be effective for everyone except at some point for Russia. So there's this flexibility specifically for Russia. Now, there's also the possibility that allowing the ship to come in,
Mm.
that this is part of the talks that are being held between the US and the Cuban government, and that these are signs of goodwill from the parties. But I still think there's a greater tendency for Trump to soften on Putin. Because also on the personal level, Trump likes the guy. He has
Yeah.
mentioned it in the past, and it's the way that Trump handles diplomacy, as we were saying earlier. Like, a lot of times it comes to if he likes someone or not.
He's very attracted to authoritarian leaders like Putin, like Kim Jong Un.
Mm-hmm.
All of those people have the same thing in common, that machismo, that way of talking to the public, the notoriety that it comes with it, because he doesn't want to be just a regular US president. He wants to be something else. He wants to be the showman. He wants to do all these things and be like, I'm the best at it. So
Mm-hmm.
he's always operated that way in business, and he thinks he can translate that into American politics. The problem is that when you're the American president, you're not just a figure in the United States, you're a figure everywhere. And I don't think he's really grasped that, because he can say whatever he wants, and yeah, he gets headlines, but at the same time, he's ruining all these relationships that have been held for such a long time, since World War II, the end of World War II. So he is blowing up the world order. And yes, maybe it should be like recognized. Maybe you do need to like look at that and say, this isn't the right way to be doing things, but like what he's doing is just totally making things worse for people. And for him to say, yes, Russia, you can bring in that tanker. Look at me, I'm so benevolent. I can like
Mm-hmm.
make sure that everybody has enough fuel for 2 weeks, but they still have to do what I do, what I want, and like, blah. So it is like this weird thing that he is doing, and it doesn't really benefit him um, to take over Cuba, because this isn't really his project. From like this is Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State. This has been his pet project since he got into politics. These are the people who've been bankrolling him his entire political career. His family is from Cuba, so he grew up in
Mm-hmm.
Florida. So these are the voters that he wants to really appease, because now he's in Mar-a-Lago and Florida and all that. So it what it really comes down to is it doesn't make any sense to put pressure on these people, on the Cuban people, and it's really frustrating because they're just suffering for no reason, because
Mm-hmm.
there's not gonna be an end game to any of this. Like, he's going to free them from their government, and then what? Because you haven't had a plan for anything. Venezuela, Iran, and then Cuba. What happens
There's
to these people
absolutely
when you
no
just
plan.
go in and destroy whatever structure that they have? I'm not saying the structure is good. It's really bad in
Mm-hmm.
all of these places, but like you don't have a plan either. So it's really frustrating to just keep saying to Russia, yeah, you can send your stuff in, you can give them, but we're going to do it in piecemeal. So you can send one tanker at a time. I'll let you know when the next one can come in. So it's just, it's really, it's a humanitarian crisis with no end to it, because it's only going to be cyclical and keep going.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure the I'm pretty sure that the public feeling regarding the regime is negative. Like, yeah, Cubans despise the regime. They don't like the government, and just like with the people from Venezuela, they will feel like a small victory, or they will feel like, God, finally we got rid of this government, if it comes to happen. Um, but then the logistical part, as you were saying, comes in. What's the plan after that? What's going to happen?
Yeah.
And that's where there's no security. There's Yeah. Well,
Bleak.
preach, dear, pray. All right. Now, I think we can head into our second topic, which is the Houthis and their involvement in the Iran war. So, Meredith, how did it all start?
So last week, the Iran-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen have launched their first missiles since the conflict started between the United States, Israel, and Iran. The target was Israel. They wanted to hit their main military targets, and everything was intercepted by the Israeli military. The Houthi military spokesman stated that the attacks on Israel were targeting sensitive Israel military
Mm,
positions and came after continued targeting of infrastructure in Iran, Lebanon, Iraq, and Palestinian territories. That's all in the quote. He also indicated that the strikes would continue, and the group did claim two more attacks that were targeting Israel, but all of those were intercepted by the military. So I think once people have been talking about this for the last month, whether or not they're going to be entering the chat and like trying to mix things up and come from a different direction. What mostly people are very concerned about is that the Houthis kind of sorry, let me take that again. The
mhm.
most concerning element of the Houthis entering the conflict is the possibility of another choke point disruption. The Red Sea is another crucial waterway, just like the Strait of Hormuz. And
Yeah,
this is going to have a lot more traffic, and it's not going to hit just the energy market. It's going to be hitting a lot more trade because a lot more goes through the Red Sea and the Suez Canal and all of that region. So that's going to be a bigger deal if they start disrupting maritime security.
yeah. And something else worth mentioning is that they are an important actor,
Mm-hmm.
starting with the fact that the Houthis became the third largest recipient of Iranian arms and military platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they pretty much accounted for about 7% of Iran's overall arms exports. However, in terms of um, let's say, formal military capabilities, they are not that strong. They lack capabilities like air defense systems,
Mm-hmm.
aircraft, helicopters, any real navy. So they cannot sustain offensive strategies or strikes, intercept sophisticated weapons, and they rely on mobile launchers, missiles, drones, and both ballistic and cruise missiles. Here, I want to make a quick parenthesis on what they are, because I feel like we see cruise missiles, ballistic missiles in a lot of social media, but I just want to mm, make people aware of what their difference is.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk weapon systems with Laura.
Yeah.
So basically, ballistic missiles are those who have a parabolic trajectory, pretty much like when you throw a rock into the distance, and it will have this semicircular, predictable trajectory where
Mm-hmm.
gravity does its job. And cruise missiles, they fly low and they avoid being detected by radars.
Mm-hmm.
They have similar, like smaller jet engines, so they can go high or low depending on the surface on their
Mm-hmm.
trajectory, meaning that they can be quite precise. Um,
And they can be directed while they're in flight.
yes, yeah, they can
Okay.
be directed. They can move exactly.
Whoa.
Yeah, yeah. So they're very dangerous, but also very costly. And by possessing these types of missiles and drones and capabilities, they have a range of attack of up to 2,000 kilometers.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much they could hit targets if they wanted regionally in parts of Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and obviously Israel because they already did. Mm, they also possess anti-ship ballistic and cruise missiles
Mhm.
designed to specifically target vessels in key waterways, as you were saying, Meredith, in case that they decide to um, have strikes on the Bab al Mandeb Strait or the wider Red Sea. But the most easy to use and easy to access are, with no doubt, drones. They have been using them since the Yemeni war and the attacks back in 2023. So, in conclusion, even though they don't have a great formal military capability, drones and missiles can do severe damage if directed to Gulf countries' infrastructure,
Mhm.
or on the side of the Red Sea to commercial ships.
Mhm.
So yeah, they can have a huge impact in the overall war. And I don't know about you, Meredith, but I am not sure if they're going to fully go out into the war and like start attacking regionally.
Yeah.
I do not think so because they were able to sign a good agreement for themselves back in 2023. And by doing that, they would lose that semi recognition that the
Mhm.
rebel group acquired due um, to that treaty. What do you think?
Yeah, and they're not as impacted due to their location. They're not as impacted of what is going on. I mean, they wanted to show solidarity with Iran, which is probably why they attacked, but they did wait a month compared to
Mm-hmm.
like Hezbollah, who immediately started attacking,
Exactly.
and now like parts of Lebanon are under Israeli control. So it is a little bit of what their position is, but they also know how much power they have by being near the commercial shipping. So they know that they wouldn't want to lose all of the missile capabilities that they have and offload all of their products right off, all their military products right off the bat. So they want to be able to hold on to that until it's actually necessary in case things escalate, until it starts getting closer to them. I think that if they aren't able to get those military products from Iran anymore, then they have lost all of their power, because Iran is going to have to at some point start their military complex up again and start cranking everything out. And if they don't have to start supplying the Houthis too, that means it's more for them. So you're right about saying how much that they gave to them, the
Mm-hmm.
7%, but it's also important that, like, Iran is now fighting in something and they're having to fire back at somebody. So it's just something that to think about, and they have to be aware of what their inventory is in case something
Mm-hmm.
does escalate.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That's why the comments on, because obviously Iran and the Houthis are Shia Muslims, so they have that ideological
Mhm,
affinity.
mhm.
But I don't think that that's going to be enough for them to fully come out and support Iran in a stronger way, like yeah, attacking Gulf countries, because then the U.S. would start strikes on the Houthis once more, and they already sustained severe damage from a couple of years back, so they know that the U.S. will do it.
Yeah,
Or
they still are in rebuilding mode, so they can't really unleash everything that they want to, in solidarity. I think they're being a little bit more cautious and just kind of holding out to see how things escalate and see if they need to step in.
yeah, yeah, I do think they do want to participate somehow, maybe with that sense of how to say it. Let me think.
Kind of in a way where, like, we have power over the Mandel Deb and also the Red
Exactly.
Sea. So we're going to be teetering in the background a little bit. We're not going to show all of our cards yet. So we're going to kind of pump the brakes and look, we do have the capability, but we also are like,
Exactly.
um, we also want to keep things a little bit calm. We want to see where things are at and see who comes out on top of this in case we have to get more military uh, inventory in the future.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like being that thread in the background, like
Yes.
that additional thread that waits in the whole situation.
Yeah. Come in
Yeah.
when you need us. You guys do your thing.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. All right. Now for our final topic, Meritus.
So earlier this week, I spoke to Thomas, who is a geopolitical studies student at Charles University,
Hmm.
and he is from Hungary, and he had some really interesting insights for us. And I had a chance to interview him a couple of days ago, and here is our interview.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Thomas. I'm from Hungary and I study here in Prague. This is my second year in the Geopolitical Studies program. Thanks for having me.
Great. Thank you for joining us today. And we wanted to talk about the upcoming elections in Hungary. And you're going to be our official Hungary expert. So, the first question that we got together was, how is the upcoming elections in Hungary affecting geopolitics?
Yes. Well, even if you agree with those who argue that Hungary often boxes above its weight, I think we should be careful because it's still it will have limited consequences or but there are some what I have in my mind, and I'm okay to talk about these. And if you have anything in addition, just let me know. Uh, Most probably the biggest thing is the vetoes in the EU, as most people know. I put different topics where we did veto before. We can talk about those. Or the general understanding of the vetoes in the Hungarian government. I think this is what causes differences oftentimes related to others in the EU. Uh, because in the Hungarian understanding, it's not really a veto what we do. Uh, in those cases where unanimity is needed, it's not really a veto if there is a member state who doesn't
Right, right,
jump in or agrees.
right.
So it's in their understanding, it's not really a veto. The EU has no common stance on these matters. This is the Hungarian understanding, at least.
Interesting. Is there anything in particular that recently has come to the forefront when it comes to vetoes? Like, is there anything that's like a hot topic?
Oh yeah, it's the last one was the 19 billion euros loan for Ukraine. What we agreed on, then we decided not to support it.
Hmm.
Uh, the reason was that Ukraine blocked the Druzhba or the friendship uh, oil pipe
Pipeline?
to Hungary.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's one of the topics regarding the vetoes. What should be mentioned: Ukraine and Russia, like the sanctions.
Hmm.
The other ones were basically what I remember were common statements from the EU, like regarding to China and its behavior in the South China Sea.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know about that one. Can you talk about that one a little bit more, or was it
I
not
can
really impactful?
I can talk in general. I do believe that the reason why they didn't participate is because it would be too risky or too expensive, and what could be achieved with the common stance, like the common opinion from the EU. Like, could it change anything? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I think there's too much to lose
yeah, yeah,
in their eyes, but they don't want to lose.
yeah, yeah. Interesting.
Uh,
Oh, just give us one sec.
sure.
Okay.
So that the possible consequences related to Russia or Ukraine, it's hard to tell what the other member states would do if Hungary couldn't veto. Like,
Yeah.
what if Orban loses the elections and his opponent, Magyar, what if he agrees? I don't really know whether other member states would veto or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how much it is known outside of Hungary, but Péter Szijjártó, the foreign minister of Hungary, often talks about other member states supporting his stance.
Yeah, he usually points out the Czech Republic or Slovakia. Well, Czech Republic recently because of the newest entrance, the Prime Minister Babiš. So yeah, you're right. Like he says that he does have backup, but
Yes, that's one.
yeah,
These countries would most probably veto these anyways, these decisions.
yeah,
But Péter Szijjártó talks about others who are openly say yes to something,
yeah,
but in the behind closed doors, they support him and
yeah,
saying that good job, you did it for us. And yeah, in this case, it's so cheap for them
yeah.
because Hungary takes all the responsibilities or the consequences, and they are just happy with the decision that it didn't go through.
Yeah, they don't have to take any of the flack from their own political
Yes.
parties. They can just say, "Nope, it was Hungary."
Yeah, that's right. And in most countries, media is not like the media environment is not like in Hungary.
Right.
In Hungary, at least, uh, there are government friendly voices.
Yeah.
There's a debate on how balanced it is. Like some say it's totally government friendly.
Uh huh.
Some says it's balanced.
Uh huh.
I would say online it's pretty balanced, or even more Brussels friendly than friendly for the
Oh,
government.
interesting.
But in printed press or TV channels, yeah, most probably it's more friendly to the government than to
Yeah.
Brussels.
Yeah.
I can agree with that. So yeah, it would be interesting to see whether these countries are coming out and let's say brave enough to veto in those cases where they feel that it's in their interest, or would
Yeah.
they just say, okay, Hungary is not here, what
Yeah.
what can we do?
Yeah.
Yeah. So one additional topic that I would mention is this federalization of the EU, what is a hot topic nowadays.
Uh huh.
That they trying to take competences from the member states. At least this is the Hungarian understanding.
Uh huh.
Uh, it's also an important question whether it would go more smoothly or
Yeah.
what the other member states would do. I'm pretty sure that there are actually several others who wouldn't agree.
Yeah.
But do they have the power to resist? Do they have the this I don't know braveness or call it whatever you want?
Political
Like
capital. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
there are many countries who would oppose this,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure whether they could resist or they would get an offer that they cannot say no to. So
Yeah, that's interesting, because they do talk about how they can get over the Orban, veto, but, like, if they change the way they do things, then how is it still fair? How is it still within the EU, uh, like, regulations and whatnot?
yeah, yeah, it,
The
it's
founding principles, that's the word I'm looking for, founding principles.
yeah, it will be interesting in both cases.
Yeah,
So if Orban wins,
yeah,
there will be this battle on again, or even go further than they did before,
yeah,
and it will have serious consequences, in my opinion.
yeah,
If Orban loses,
yeah.
it makes a bit easier for them, but how easy? It's hard to tell. I would say.
Well, that actually goes into my next question is, will the future of the relationship with other countries, if Magyar does become prime minister, what would that opposition party look like in Hungary and the geopolitical relations that they've built up?
It's hard to say.
Yeah, because he was a part of the Fidesz, party
That's
before.
right.
Yeah.
Yes, and his supporters are really divided.
Uh-huh.
So there are a few topics that they don't really like to talk about, and I think like Russia, for example,
Mhm.
China is not that hot nowadays. It's more about Russia.
Mhm.
It's hard to say. Openly, they say that they would probably pull back,
Uh-huh.
but in a strategic way. They would make adjustments and things like that. In reality, I'm I have doubts.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think I think they would cut those ties to Russia.
yeah.
There are leaked documents that say that, and oftentimes members from the TISA party, that's Magyar's party,
Mhm.
um, talk about this openly, even if normally they wouldn't. It's strange in my eyes,
Yeah, yeah.
and there were cases that TISA members were wearing Ukraine T-shirts in the
Oh,
European
interesting.
Parliament. So
Yeah,
so all these say that most probably they would cut these ties.
yeah,
But who knows?
yeah,
It's a long trend in Hungary that in opposition everyone is anti-Russian,
yeah,
and once they come to power, they must make an
yeah,
agreement with them. So hard to say, but this case, I think they would
yeah,
most probably cut ties or limit them as much
yeah.
as they can.
Interesting. Um, do you think that Orban's pro-Russian, orientation impacts his campaign? Do you think that's why people are so interested in Natjar's, uh, opposition, or people not really interested? Or do you think that Russia does have, like, the overriding factor that's going on?
It's also hard to say, to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
honest. First of all, I wouldn't really say that Orban is pro-Russian.
Oh, interesting.
I don't remember any cases when they did anything for Russia what was not in Hungary's interest,
Right,
at least in their rhetorics, and like facts support this, even if you don't agree.
right.
Overall, they have some points what you cannot disagree with. Like, uh,
Interesting.
if you check the gas prices or the energy prices in Hungary,
Mhm.
that's the lowest in the EU. And cutting
Oh, okay.
Russian ties would definitely help this.
Oh, yes, that would definitely escalate things. Yeah, certainly.
So it's really hard to say. I wouldn't say he's pro-Russian. Oftentimes, if our interests match, they
Mhm.
will support it even if the EU doesn't like it. That's
Yeah,
my opinion.
interesting.
But yes, back to your question, it's one of the reasons why people are interested.
Yeah,
It's Russian and Chinese relations are
yeah,
important to mention too.
yeah.
He has basically good relations with all major players
Mhm.
except for the EU
So everybody that
institutions.
he's surrounded by all these people that he doesn't agree with,
Yeah, yeah, but I mean,
but he's starting to, like, coming around with a couple of countries.
yeah, I mean, they have good relations to China,
Yeah, yeah,
United States,
yeah,
Russia.
very good relations with the US. Yeah,
I
yeah,
guess they are the most important players
yeah,
around. So
yeah.
Turkey, uh, they're not that big, but closer to us, so they matter as
Yeah,
well.
and Turkey does make a big difference in the area,
Yeah,
especially with the everything that's going on in the Middle East. Which kind of brings
that's
me
right.
to my final question, which is, do you think that the current situation in Iran is serving as a discourse tool for the parties, similar to what is being said about Ukraine? Like, is it creating more issues in the campaign for both parties now that Iran has come into the mix?
Uh, as I remember, the TISA party, the opposition party, didn't really talk about this matter. At
Mhm.
least I don't remember they said anything.
Interesting.
Uh, on the other hand, Fidesz and Orban, they used it as a justification or a support for their stance on the Russian energy.
Mhm.
That in their argument, at least, if energy is not coming from the Middle East,
Yeah.
Europe will go back to Russia sooner or later.
Oh, interesting.
Or
Yeah.
or
Where
what
else?
else? Yeah.
Well,
There's
you
of
got
course the United
Norway, you
States,
got the United States,
but
you got Nigeria. Yeah, yeah,
with
yeah,
limited options. Like
yeah, yeah,
you are far.
yeah.
uh,
And it's hard to scale up in a small amount of time.
yeah,
So, yeah.
that's right. So as I know for now,
Hmm.
we have backups.
Yeah.
The EU and Hungary as well.
Hmm.
Uh, but what happens if this war will go on for
Yeah.
months or years? It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
In in their argument, in Orban's argument,
Mm.
Europe will go back anyways.
Yeah.
But this will probably make
But
it happen sooner.
and they've got first dibs.
Yeah. So yeah. Yes, and they have good infrastructure in that
Yeah.
way, good
Yeah.
connections.
Yeah.
That would be a gold mine for them,
Yeah.
probably.
Absolutely.
This was the original idea, as I remember,
Hmm.
that when the Germans decided to close their nuclear plants,
Hmm.
that's when Orban first started to think about
Yeah.
exporting energy to that
Yeah.
way from Russia because we have no
Yeah.
gas or anything,
Yeah.
or either, or just limited options there. So yeah, that was the original idea. And nuclear
Interesting.
plants.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
expanding the
Yeah.
one in Pax.
Interesting. Did you have any other closing thoughts you wanted to mention?
Hmm, I'll have a look at my notes. You can catch this
Yeah,
if
sorry.
we missed anything. Yeah, I think we missed the symbolic role that Hungary plays
Yeah,
in a few matters
yeah,
because it's not material, but I think that's the hardest or the most important one
yeah,
to
yeah,
mention. What Hungary plays in European politics.
yeah.
Uh, it would be either pushing back these patriotic, populist, or call them whatever you want,
Yeah.
parties a little bit. I don't know how much. It's hard to tell, I think.
Mhm.
But on the other hand, I think the original goals that makes them grow this fast is
Mhm.
not related to Hungary. So
Yeah.
I think as long as major problems are not solved in Western societies,
Yeah.
these parties will grow anyway. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I think this is also it's an important role what we play or Hungary plays,
Yeah.
but the consequences will be limited in this space as well.
Yeah, it's important to at least challenge and like really think about everything that you're deciding policies on for so many different groups of people and to have a voice say, "Hey, like we need to like really consider this a little bit more." I mean, who else is going to do that? Is everybody just going to keep on following each other? Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. And it gets so messy and complicated that they don't know what to do with themselves anymore. So it is a good thing to have somebody who will question. Um, but it is hard because he does have very opposing views to what everybody else is thinking. So they just
That's right.
struggle to like make things work. And they say that, oh, we're way too chaotic because of this one person. Well, at least somebody is questioning it and not just rolling over on every single thing and trying to, mix things up a bit.
Yeah,
So
that's right. And even if he's not in the Hungarian government,
yeah.
he can do that
Yeah, he can
still.
still
So
he'll have a podcast just like us.
most probably he goes to the European Parliament,
Yeah,
or who knows,
or
even
he
from
join
opposition, he will be Orban.
yeah,
So
well,
yeah,
he can
he will have
also
his options.
yeah,
I would say.
he can join Liz Trust and, do CPAC all over the world.
Yeah, that's also an option.
So yeah, I just wanted to say thank you so much for taking the time out to talk with us, and I really appreciate you giving us such a great insight into Hungarian politics and how it affects the geopolitical tensions and whatnot. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming to join us on.
Thanks for the invitation, and option. Thank you.
We hope to have you back. Maybe we'll have you back after the election and see what your thoughts are.
I will be around, so
Yes. Excellent.
happy to help if I can.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
He did have a follow-up note that he wanted to have me present. He says that he has a prediction for the elections, and he said that it will be a normal-sized victory for Orban and Fidesz, gaining 5 to 10% more votes on the list, ending up with about 50 to 55% of the mandates, while
Mm,
Magyar and Tisha will get 40 to 45% of the mandates. That's all quoted from him. So
hmm
I do think that was really interesting that he sees that Orban will stay in power, but it's going to be interesting for the European Union going forward and what's going to happen with the big loan for Ukraine, what's going to happen inside the country. So he did also mention that he would be happy to follow up with us if there's any other insights that come out from the election.
That's perfect. And we welcome him with open arms whenever he wants to come back. So thank you, Thomas.
Thanks, buddy.
Now, on behalf of Antoine, who could not be here today with us, Meredith, and myself, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure to subscribe and follow us on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast, and stay with us as we keep unpacking why geopolitics matter. Bye.
For more articles on why geopolitics matters, don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter at whygeopoliticsmatter.com.